Hello and welcome to another edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Tom Caron with you as we take a break from our usual coverage of the Red Sox offseason to look back at a pretty special event, certainly special to me because I, for a little over a year now, have been co-chairman of the Jimmy Fund along with Brock Holt, the former Red Sox player, the world champion and all-star who was so dedicated to the Jimmy Fund and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in his time as a player. He has stayed very involved as the co-chair, and he and I got to co-host the first ever Jimmy Fund Celebrity Pro-Am at TPC Boston just a couple weeks ago. A great event, kind of a new cornerstone piece for the Jimmy Fund Golf Program, which has been going on for a long time. Jimmy Fund Golf Program allows anyone who wants to raise money, anyone who's been affected by cancer, who wants to give back, can put together a little golf tournament at their country club or their local golf course, and the Jimmy Fund will make it turnkey with help in signage and promotion and all of that. So that program has been going on forever. Hundreds of tournaments held, raising so much money in the fight against cancer. But this was different. This was sort of the one end-of-year celebration of golf for the Jimmy Fund, and it featured a lot of former Red Sox players, a lot of athletes on hand as celebrities, but a lot of them played for the Red Sox. Brock Holt, of course, being alongside, he and I were able to make some calls and get some people like Derek Lowe and Keith Foulke and Jackie Bradley Jr., Lou Merloni was on hand, Manny Delcarmen, the former reliever. And with all of those former players in town, it was a great opportunity to talk to them about what this past season of Red Sox baseball meant to them, what they see in this franchise getting back to the playoffs, and where the future goes from here. So we turn to some voices from the past to look ahead to the future and to talk a little Jimmy Fund on this edition of 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. Manny, just sort of look at disappointing end of the season, obviously, but when you sort of take a step back and look at what the young group did, how important was it they made the playoffs? They sort of got that next level of experience.
For me, it's been, the last couple of years have been tough. But like you said, Marcelo Mayer, Roman Anthony, just getting that experience, and then they show what they can do for the future, right? And I think the future is bright. I mean, obviously not the outcome that we wanted at the end of the season because I was watching every single game, but it's definitely more positive than the last couple of years, just a little short this year.
What do you think they need to add? What do they need to do this offseason to get to that next step?
I mean, for me, with all the young guys producing and obviously getting a fair shot out of spring training and stuff, I mean, you just can't go find another Crochet, right? So I think if they find another starting pitcher kind of with that same caliber or close to it, I think it just helps that bullpen rotation a little bit deeper because I think their bullpen was great. I mean, Chapman, look at what he did this year. Obviously, Whitlock, I mean, they got a pretty good team. And then with the young guys, with a couple of the veterans, I think they'll be fine. Slayton
kind of joined that high leverage group at the end, right? And we've seen Whitlock evolve. We know what Chapman can do, but you went through this as a young pitcher in Boston with a playoff caliber team. Like, what does Slayton need to do now in an offseason? Because now he's pitching more innings, deeper into October. Like, what's that do for your body? What's it do to the offseason?
I mean, for me, it's getting that opportunity to be that guy. I mean, I think he is one of those guys, has electrifying stuff, and just mixing him in with everybody else to get the ball to Chapman. Obviously happy to get Chapman back for a few years, hopefully, but it's just that mindset of, getting that experience in the postseason. Once that phone rings, Cora's calling down there for you because every time the phone rang, I was hoping it was me because you want the ball in those situations, but I think they have an unbelievable team, and Slayton's going to fit right in.
You were also, like, with Papelbon, it wasn't one guy. Like, how important is that to have two or three different guys so that if one guy's been used up a lot, you got someone else to turn to?
I mean, in my time with Pap, we had Okajima, we had Javi Lopez, another lefty. I mean, my numbers, you would think I'm a left-handed pitcher because I threw better against lefties than righties. But just the ability to have a lot of guys that can get the ball to Chapman or be that gap in the 7th, 8th inning and save guys for the season because it's really about saving guys. And it showed a little bit. Obviously it was a long season. They battled all year. And like I said, they fell short, but I'm excited about the future.
You're a local guy here at the Jimmy Fund today. What's it mean to be able to support things like this?
I mean, this is what it's about, right? Getting guys to come out, get them together, raise a little bit of money because obviously there's always research for this to help not only now but for the future. And it's always glad to be here, be part of it, and for you always having me to come out.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
So, Jackie, obviously the Red Sox season didn't end the way that they wanted it to, but, the season was an improvement overall from the last couple of years. What do you think they should take away from this season?
They had a great year. Obviously, you didn't reach the end goal that you always want, but I think I heard AC talk about that he had a lot of fun. Obviously, it was, you know, the fun. There was more fun to be had, but to go through all the adversity that they went through, the injuries, and still to come on strong late like they did. I think it speaks to them as a team, their character, and the way they're able to build. They had a lot of young guys come up and prove that they belong, so they have a bright future.
Yeah, you speak about those young guys. A lot of those young guys are young outfielders, like how it was for you when you first came here to Boston. What tips would you give those guys as they continue to improve and make their names throughout this league?
Just be open-minded. The game is constantly changing. Lean into those veteran relationships. Those guys have been there, done that. So, when you go through things, you'll have them to support you, and so overall, just continue to work. There's going to be some tough times, but there are also going to be some great times. Enjoy those moments and try to make sure you appreciate them.
Yeah, and then the last thing, you learn a lot through wins, you learn a lot through losses. This team obviously had a lot of guys who weren't expected to play a lot of outings, but they did. They went out there and did it. What kind of things do you think this team should take away from losing this series to the Yankees?
I think just come back next year, and no one likes that feeling of losing. So just continue to work, continue to make adjustments, and try to take things one pitch at a time, and I think things will eventually work out.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, Keith. So obviously the season didn't end the way Red Sox Nation would have wanted it to, but it was a pretty good season overall. How would you make of the season for the Red Sox?
Definitely didn't end how everybody wanted it to, but that's how a lot of seasons go. I think they had a lot of ups and downs, but on the whole, I think it was an improvement. The fans got behind the team. The team showed that they could play together and they could win. A few key mistakes here and there, kind of cost us, in the end, but, that's the game. You got to let the players go out and play and figure it out.
Yeah, speaking of figuring it out, obviously a pitching was kind of a contention point for this team, and you being a pitcher yourself, what do you think they need to do to improve from this year to next?
Not so many balls down the middle of the plate. That's it doesn't matter if I'm sitting home or watching the guys on the mound. It's all the same thing. Is the hitters feed on mistakes, and and the better you get as a pitcher, the less mistakes you make. So they pay these guys a lot of money. They're pretty good, but you just got to keep the ball out of the middle of the plate.
Yeah, I like asking you and Brock the same question. I got to him a little earlier, so I got to ask you.
Well, then you already know the answer then.
I got to ask you a question. He said that he's not as smart as these guys. I know you might have a different take on it, but Brez and AC, if you could just talk to them this offseason and give them one nugget of the most important thing that the Red Sox need to handle this offseason, what would you say to them?
It's one of those things. I never like to play GM. I think our management staff that we have right now is doing a great job. Yeah. I love the team that we have. If we could have stayed healthy, it's always one of those things you never know what would happen. But, I like the team. If they can go out and pick up a couple, good free agents, I'd love to see our third baseman back. I'll tell you that. But, go out there and just keep the good team on the field, good team in the clubhouse. And, when a team loves each other and they really want to play for each other, they make good things happen.
Yeah, I agree. We do got great management here. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Speaking of that pitching, how do you address that? Obviously, you're going to have guys like Hout coming back next year, hopefully Sandoval coming back healthy next year, and there's probably some guys out there in the market that you want to see in a Red Sox jersey. But what should Breslow do to address that?
Well, I think you've got the depth taken care of. You mentioned some of those guys. Houk, I don't know if he'll be back. Crawford will be back. Dobbins, Fitz. You saw early, Harrison, Tolley. So there's a lot of depth. You'll have depth in minor leagues, depending on who makes the staff. But it's really about getting a guy. You got to get a dude. You got to get somebody with crochet to have that 1-2 and let Bayo kind of continue to grow as a starter. He had a great year, a career year for Brian Bayo. There's another level to him too. So, but you have to go out, whether it's via trade or free agency, and get another guy to go with Crochet. That's probably the biggest piece, because I think you do have a lot of depth.
Yeah. Other than pitching, what is the number one thing the Red Sox need to do this offseason?
Well, ideally, you want to bring back Bregman. That's a starting point. Yeah. So now you got to bring back Bregman to get even. Then you got to go. You need power. You need to get power. I know Pete Alonso's out there. I know that name, and obviously that would be a beautiful fit. But you got to find some power in this lineup, so when you get into the postseason, that 2-run, 3-run home run is there. When you looked at that Yankee lineup and they had 9 guys with 20-plus with the best hitter in baseball in the middle of it, I think we had 2 guys with 20-plus, and one was Abreu, who missed the last month of the season, basically. So you got to get some more power, I believe. And then you mix in your athletes. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. It needs to be a blend of what you have.
All right. Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it.
You got it. Anytime.
310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
All right, Derek. So, look, obviously the team didn't end the season the way they would want to, but it was a great season for them overall. How would you put together what this season meant to the Red Sox and Red Sox Nation?
Yeah, it was a great – honestly, in my opinion, it was a great season. I think if you look at the last couple of years, probably wasn't what they were looking for, and then the beginning of the season. And then by the middle of the year, they took off. I'm not blaming Devers. I'm not blaming – a lot of people want to just say, hey, that was the reason, but – the starting pitching started playing a lot better. I would love to see this team continue with Roman Anthony the last month. Obviously, I think he's going to be a tremendous player. But, there's building blocks. Hopefully we can bring Alex Bregman back. He seemed like a great addition to the team. I was very fortunate this is my first year working with the Red Sox, so I was able to do like 20, 25 games. So I was around the boys a little bit more. So great things ahead. So it's just for me, again, I thought it was a great year.
Yeah, speaking of that, one pitching thing, obviously, with a pitcher right here, and one hitting thing that you think they should continue to build upon for next season.
Yeah, obviously, you look at, from my perspective, starting pitching, you can never have enough of it, and what I mean by that is injuries are going to happen. I can't sit here and say, per se, right now, who are the big names on the free agent market as a pitcher, but I'd love to see Kyle Schwarber here. We put him in the middle of the lineup. But, they're going to do the right thing. They always do. And, I'll always support them.
All right. And then one last thing. You obviously have been around the team. You've seen what success looks like around this Red Sox team. What's the most important thing that they need to focus on as a team heading into this offseason?
God, man, that's a great question. I think, again, I would say starting pitching. Yep. I think that's always so important. It sets up your whole success. They obviously went and signed Chapman back. But, yeah, if you ask a hitter, you go ask a hitter, you know what they're going to tell you? We need more hitting. I always think we need more pitching, right, you know what I'm saying? But, again, I just love being a part of the organization. I love being out here. I love supporting the team. But, yeah, this is a building for the next, hopefully 3 or 5 years, get on a good, nice run.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. All right, Brock. So, obviously, the Red Sox didn't in the way that they wanted to, but this season was an improvement from the last couple of years. How do you compartmentalize this entire season for the Red Sox?
Yeah, obviously, I think AC said it best after the season, right? They felt the way they felt because they didn't obviously achieve what they wanted to going into it. Yeah. But I think once the dust settles, you can be proud of the steps that they made. I think the future's bright, obviously, with the young guys coming up. It was a fun team to watch, and I think the last couple years having a team like that to watch, obviously put the fans and the atmosphere back into Fenway Park, and obviously getting to the playoffs is not the goal. It is a goal, but when I was here, it took us a few times too. We got in and lost first round, got in, lost first round, and then we won it that third year. So I think the young guys getting that taste of playing meaningful baseball in September and into October, I think it's going to help them moving forward.
Yeah, if you could talk to AC and Brez right now and just give them two important things that the Red Sox need to do this offseason, whether it be, you know, something on the field or going to get guys or securing some guys. We know some guys that we want to see come back here. What would those two things be?
Well, the good thing about having AC in the managerial seat and Brez where he's at is they're two of the best, right? So I don't think anything that I could tell them they don't already know. They're a lot smarter than I am. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let them do their job. Have total, 100% faith in what Brez is doing. And obviously, you getting to play for AC the 2 years that I got to play for him in 18-19. He's a good friend of mine, and can't say enough good things about him as a manager. So the Red Sox are in a good place, and this will be a fun offseason to pay attention to.
All right, one last question. I see you got your little guys running around with you, one running in the back behind you a couple seconds ago here, and you're obviously always teaching them things. What's one guy on this Red Sox team that you would love to just get your hands on? You play it all across the field, but that you could get your hands on this offseason and kind of teach them a couple things about the game?
I love Trevor Story. To see what he's kind of gone through the last couple of years and to see him get healthy and kind of be that leader on the field, I think for the Red Sox at a shortstop position, in my opinion, one of the most important. Obviously, catcher's important and a pitcher clearly, but defensively on the field, shortstop kind of. He's the leader out there. So I just love the way that Trevor Story plays. He goes about it the right way. He plays hard. And he's one guy that I really enjoy watching right now.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's a great day out on the course. Congratulations to Brock Holt, by the way. The top three teams were awarded prizes. His team finished third, one stroke ahead of my team, which was fourth and just out of the money. Even though as co-chair, I tried to declare that the top four would get prizes, but I was shot down in that idea. But really, the winner, of course, was the fight against cancer and the research and clinical care going on at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. The money raised by the Jimmy Fund going to fuel that movement, and so much money raised over the course of the day by so many people who gave their time and gave their money and gave their energy in support of that great cause. So we thank everybody who took part in it. We thank all the former players who played in it and who took a few minutes to talk to Ountae Campbell and to talk to us about what the Red Sox are up to. We thank Ountae for getting the great interviews, and we thank you for checking out this edition of 310 to Left. As always, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. I'm Tom Caron. We'll do it again next time. See you then.